Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a very fun reading vlog and my subscribers are going to be choosing my reads. Okay, now we have all the information. No. Not kidding, I cried for probably an hour straight. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for honestly a very long time because you guys recommend such amazing books in the comment section. And I think for this video, the way that I'm gonna do it is we're gonna choose a few books different ways each time. And I felt like the best way to choose our first book was from the comment section. And there is one book above all other books that I've mentioned on this channel, on my TBR, that you guys are truly obsessed with and really want me to read. And so therefore, the first book that we're going to be reading in this video is none other than Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read 3 other books by Taylor Jenkins Reid before and I loved all 3 of them. I rated them 5 stars, which is a little bit terrifying. I think that's why I've been putting this off because I know that I love her book so much and I don't want to be disappointed. But yeah, I am so excited to not only be reading this book, but just be reading the books that you guys are choosing. And I'm gonna update you guys a little bit later on my thoughts and opinions on this book so far. But I just wanted to get the reading vlog started and tell you that I am so excited. Okay, I will see you all very soon.
Always watching you.
It's a little bit later in the day now. I am taking a little lunch break from work and I wanted to give you guys an update on Carrie Soto Is Back. And the reason that I actually got this idea and wanted to film this video is my library, the audiobook version of Carrie Soto Is Back became available. And so on a whim, I was just like, yeah, I'll start listening to it because again, you guys have been recommending me this book so much. And then as I always do, I'm gonna switch over from the audiobook into the physical book. So far I've only listened on audio and I am 19% of the way into our book, which is also 64 pages in. And this story is all about our main character, Carrie, and her life as she becomes the greatest women's tennis player of all time. And at the start of our story, she's sitting with her dad at, I don't know what tennis tournament it was, Wimbledon, Grand Slam, something like that. And she's essentially watching as her world record is about to get tied. So when she set the record for 20 Grand Slams, she retired. She was like, I have set the record. I don't need to do this anymore. And it's years later, she's watching her record get tied and she's like, that's it. I need to go back. I need to play tennis. I need to make sure that my record stays at the top. And essentially after that introduction, we go back and watch everything in her life that has led her to this moment. So now where I am, we're kind of watching as Carrie grows up and becomes the best tennis player. And then I assume a little bit later in the story, we're gonna be watching her as she tries to beat her own record and this record that's been tied. And I really like it so far. Again, I just can feel Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. Like there's something about it that's so recognizable and addicting. Like I just want to pick this book up, stop working, sit in my cozy reading chair and read for the rest of the day. I'm not going to do that, but that's what I want to do. And I'm very curious, I think mostly about the character arc and development that we're going to see with Carrie. Because to me right now, she feels a little bit one-dimensional in that her whole personality is being so competitive and so obsessed with tennis. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out over time. But so far, I'm really loving this book. It's still so early, like we have a lot of time to go in here, but those are my initial thoughts and feelings. And I am so glad that you guys have chosen this book for me to read. everyone. It's a few days later from the last time that I updated this video, but you guys would have just seen me listening to the audiobook and reading some more of our book, Carrie Soto Is Back. And I just got changed. I'm about to go hang out with a friend, but before I left, I thought this was a good time to update you all on my thoughts and opinions as we have progressed further into this book. Right now, I'm on page 198, so I think that puts us over, yeah, definitely over halfway. And oh my God, Taylor Jenkins Reid hits every single time. Tell me why this has just been sitting on my shelf for months. I have no reason. I really have no good reason, because I know I love her books. I know I love her characters. I know I love her writing. Like, all of it is so good. And that is continuing to hold up with this book. I think I said before, I was really curious to see how Carrie develops as a character as the story progresses. And now we're watching her as she continues to compete and try to break her own record for the most Grand Slams. I keep forgetting what that's called. And Carrie as a character, it's very interesting. I find when authors can do this, she's not the most likable. She's extremely cutthroat and competitive. And all she really wants for herself is to win. Like, she really can't stand anything less. And so I find there's a lot of humility and comfort in her dad in this book. Like, he is the voice of wisdom constantly, because she again just gets so caught up in the game and winning and kind of forgets, you know, the more important things along the way, I might argue. And I love her dad. Like, his character in here is just the sweetest guy ever. And again, I just love that, you know, like I said before, that voice of reason that he brings to this story. And so honestly, we're not seeing as much growth and change in Carrie as I might have expected at 50%. Like, she is still so dead set on accomplishing her goal, beating her record. And I think that's great. I really like that she is like this powerful, independent woman, but I also just, like, for her, want her to see, you know, the beauty of like friendships and relationships and family, and that, you know, life is more than just a game. And I have a feeling that that's coming. But yeah, I'm still absolutely loving this book. Like, it is so good. I have just had a string of amazing reads lately, and so this is just like continuing that 100%. Right now, honestly, besides our character growth, I have no issues with this book. Like, it is a perfect book so far, because I have so much confidence that we're gonna see Carrie as she grows and changes. And I'm so excited because this book is so good. So I have to go. I'll update you guys probably when I freaking finish our book.
We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky just to.
It's the next day now, and I finished Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I loved this book, and I feel like that was the case the entire time that I was reading it. There was not a single moment where this story was lagging, or I was bored, or I was frustrated about something that I like wasn't supposed to be frustrated about, if that makes sense. You guys remember how I was saying that I was looking for a lot of growth and character development in Carrie, and in classic Taylor Jenkins Reid style, we got all of the character development and more that I was looking for. And I just feel like it really, that transformation of Carrie as a main character really made me care about her in a different way than I did for the beginning of this book. I just loved how much she transformed, and how much by the end of the story looked at the world so differently, and how she treated the people around her and the relationships in her life that she was able to build up. I just loved that. And also, this is kind of random, but literally like the last 2 pages of this book were everything to me. Like, I loved them so much. I don't think it was quite an epilogue, but it was just like later, you know, down the road. Let me double check. Yeah, it's just like a year later. It hit so hard. If you know, you know. I just loved literally the last like 2 pages of this book. And yeah, I want to talk about other characters more specifically, but if I did that, it would spoil things in here, so I'm not gonna do that. But just know that I loved this so much. I'm definitely giving this 5 stars. Taylor Jenkins Reid, you've done it again. I don't know how you do it every single time. You've done it again. And also, that is point 1 for subscriber besties. You guys absolutely slayed, and I totally understand why everyone and their mother was commenting on every single YouTube video that I have out to read this book. You guys were so right. I love this so much. Gonna make it my whole personality probably for the first half of 2025. We can officially take this book off of the physical TBR, which feels amazing. And conveniently, I have my entire physical TBR right next to me. And I'm trying to figure out, I think method number 2 that we're gonna do for you guys choosing my reads is doing a post in the community tab. And then you guys are gonna vote in a little poll. I think I wanna focus on books that have been on my physical TBR for longer. And so that leaves us with 3 main options, and then I have 1 other that I'm gonna talk to you guys about. So the first one, we have The Lives of Girls and Women by Alice Munro. This is a shorter book. It won the Nobel Prize, so I feel like that's very promising, and I've been wanting to read this for a while. Then we have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I've also been wanting to read this for honestly a long time, but I bought it early last year. And then we have The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery by Gabrielle Zevin, the author of one of my all-time favorite books, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. However, I also have a book club that I do with one of my besties from college, and for that book club, we're supposed to be reading Lovelight Farms by B.K. Borison, I think is the author's name. So I think I want to do a poll between that book and one of these 3, because honestly, I should be reading that one, but I'll be happy if I read one of these as well. I think I'm gonna go with The Lives of Girls and Women because I really want to get this off my physical TBR. So I'll probably put up a poll between this and Lovelight Farms, and I'm super curious to see what you guys say because I've talked about this book on my channel a lot, but I've never talked about Lovelight Farms before. But I think that one might be more popular than this book. It's actually 2 days later from the last time that I filmed for this video, and I meant to pick up my camera and update you guys on the poll, but I ended up not really feeling the best yesterday and like the second half of the day before. So I do have a result for you guys. It's just very late. So officially, remember, we were voting between Lovelight Farms and Lives of Girls and Women by Alice Munro. And I don't know if I'm surprised by this, but Lovelight Farms won by a landslide. Lovelight Farms got 85% and Lives of Girls and Women got 15%. And I don't know if that's because this is more popular or if it's because this is the Christmas season, but I still need to read this at some point. But since posting that, seeing that this book was the winner, I've actually made a lot of progress in this book. I'm currently 66% of the way into this, and there's a couple reasons for that. This book isn't like exceptionally good or anything like that, which is usually the reason that I read books quickly, but the audiobook was available at my library, so I checked that out, and once again, I started our book on the audiobook, and then I also bought it on my Kindle, and I've been reading it there ever since. Like I said, I was feeling sick yesterday, so I literally just sat in bed for hours and read this book, and then this morning I did like a full deep clean of my apartment, and I listened to the audiobook the entire time. And basically in this story, we're following our main character. Her name is Stella, and her Christmas tree farm that she runs is essentially going out of business, and on a whim, she enters this competition where the social media influencer would come, and I don't really know exactly what the competition is, but there's prize money at the end. The only problem is she lied on her application saying that she was running this Christmas tree farm with her boyfriend. Stella doesn't have a boyfriend, and long story short, she has to fake date her bestie, her best friend. His name is I don't remember. And it's like sweet and fun so far, but it's definitely not like a standout book to me at all. The characters to me feel very two-dimensional. I can very much tell that I'm reading words on paper, if that makes sense. And so I'm having a very difficult time connecting with the story and the characters and the romance. I really like the atmosphere. I love the small town vibes. There's a lot of elements to this book that I'm enjoying, but when you put them all together, I feel like it just feels a little bit clunky to me. It's not the most cohesive. We're jumping around a little bit. I'm not sure the purpose of all of the different characters, you know, like what they're bringing to the story, if that makes sense. And so I'm having a good time, but it's really not a standout to me in any way, shape, or form. But I do need to read this book with my bestie. Like I said, we're doing this for book club. And so it's very important that I read this book. And so I'm very glad that you guys voted for it. But yeah, I'm not having like a super great time, but I'm definitely not going to DNF it. Partially because of the book club, partially because I am liking it enough to continue. So yeah, those are my thoughts so far. Not like the most, I feel like that's not super thorough or insightful or anything, but like it's fine. You know, it's given like 3-star energy right now. I'm having a good time. You know, I might update you guys again, but I'll probably just see you when this book is over. Hello everyone, it's been a few days since I filmed for this video, or actually now that I think about it, I think it's been almost a week since I updated you all. I ended up doing some traveling for Christmas and the holidays, so I haven't been home, I haven't had my camera, but in the time that I was gone on Christmas holiday, I did finish Love Light Farms, and so I wanted to give you all a little bit of an update before we choose our last reads of this video. Now, I definitely did like this book, but it was not really a standout. I think that's what I was saying in the last clip for this video. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the Christmas tree farm and the setting. I felt like it was very atmospheric and really, really good for getting into the holiday spirit. So if you guys are thinking about reading this book over Christmas time or in the winter, I would highly recommend. It definitely does the job in that respect, I guess. But I think then if we take a closer look at this book and take a deeper dive into what was actually going on, I didn't really love the romance of this book, which unfortunately is supposed to be like the forefront of this story. And I think the main thing about it that I didn't really love was this was a friends to lovers story, which I really tend to enjoy. Like I think friends to lovers is so much fun because you have that period of like mystery, we're friends, don't cross that line, that whole dynamic. But I just felt like when our male main character, I think his name was Luca, when he started to clearly have feelings for our female main character back, like when it was very obvious that the romance was mutual, it felt to me like it came out of nowhere. It didn't feel like, oh, I've loved you all this time. That whole thing, like I just felt like communicating those feelings was not done slowly throughout. It just kind of came out of the woodwork. So I was like, whoa, where did this come from? And then I think the other thing about this book that was really weird for me as a reader is the whole time it felt very YA, like the writing felt like it was written for a younger audience, and the characters, the things that they would say, everything about it felt YA, even though this book is absolutely not YA. So you would have spice scenes or like things that would happen, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? This book feels so young and yet these things are happening. And so I think that just again, as a reader, was a little bit confusing and a little bit weird for me. It just felt like the writing style wasn't consistent with what was actually happening in the story. And so yeah, I liked this book. It was good. It was fun. I would definitely still recommend, but there were just a few things that felt a little bit disjointed, a little bit clunky, and it wasn't my favorite thing. I was definitely a little bit bored, but again, that doesn't mean it's a bad book. It it didn't really stand out to me. Okay, so now it is time to pick our third and final read of the video, and I do have a slight confession for you all. In the time that I stopped filming for this video and again was on vacation, I did start reading not one, not two, but 3 books. And so now I am partway through The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery. I am also partway through Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, and along with that, Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. I'm definitely more towards the beginning into both of these books than I am in The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery. And so I still wanted you guys to be choosing my reads, okay? And honestly, it's not wise for me to be in the middle of 3 books. So what I'm gonna have you guys do is vote on my Bookstagram which books I should basically read first. So if you guys choose these books, I will be pausing this one, focusing on these, or alternatively pausing the tandem and reading The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery. I'm still towards the beginning in all 3 of these, so we really have not missed much in this video, but I didn't want to just stop reading because I didn't have my camera on me. Also, depending on what you guys vote, it's gonna dictate how soon this video goes up, because if y'all choose the tandem read, this video may not be going up until well into January, or who knows, even later. So I am gonna post this poll on my Bookstagram, which I rarely use. It has very few followers, so if you guys are following my Bookstagram account, shout out to you. I don't talk about it very often. I don't post on it very often, but you know, this is just gonna be for the homies, the real ones who follow my Bookstagram. So I'm gonna set up a little poll, and then I'm probably gonna get changed out of my pajamas, and I will let you know what our final read or reads of this video is gonna be. Honestly, I have no idea what you guys are gonna choose. I kind of hope you choose The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery so I can get this done. But for some reason, I feel like it might be the tandem. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna get this poll going. Okay, besties, it is a few hours later on the same day. Right now it is 4:45, so I think it's been like 5 hours. And again, I don't have a ton of people on my Bookstagram right now, mostly because I just haven't been putting the time into it that I need to be. So I'm gonna record my screen and we're gonna figure out the last book that I am going to be reading for this video. Again, I kind of hope that it's A.J. Fickery because it's shorter, but you know, I have my doubts, so let me record. Okay, ready? Tandem read. The Throne of Glass tandem read has won. Oh man, I kind of had a feeling that that would happen. It's fine. I was reading these anyway. It's more just when I can get this video up for you guys. So that means that we are going to be reading, oh my God, we're going to be reading these in this video. The tandem read won with 56%, and the A.J. Fickery book got 44%. So honestly, pretty close. But yeah, looks like we're gonna be doing Throne of Glass. Before I get too comfy, I did want to give you guys a little bit of a reading update on the tandem read. For anyone who is unfamiliar with this series, basically these books are taking place concurrently. So this is the 5th and the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series. And what a lot of people do is this thing called the tandem read, where you go through and tab each book. And then when you get to like the next tab, that means that you switch over and start reading the other book. So I'm currently 95 pages into Empire of Storms and also 20 pages, so not as far, into Tower of Dawn. And it's interesting because at the beginning, we're reading a lot more of Empire of Storms and not as much Tower of Dawn. And we're also following different characters in each of these books. So like some of the besties are in this book and they're all getting their own POVs, but then everybody else gets a POV in this book. I think you get the idea. Honestly, so far, I am really, really enjoying these books. I think it just feels so good to be back in a world that I know that I love so much. And there are a few characters in particular who I am just obsessed with, and I really missed reading from their perspective and just like seeing what they're all up to. I will say the stakes are so high, and I think they're just gonna get higher, which is a little bit terrifying. And I think the other thing that I also don't know if I was fully expecting at this point in the series is the world is like continuing to expand. So we're learning so much more about, again, this fantasy world, the lands, the people, the characters. Like there are so many different things all going on at the same time. And just, I keep thinking, okay, now we know it all. Okay, now we have all the information. No, we literally keep learning things more and more as the series progresses. And yeah, I'm a little scared because I have heard that this is a wild ride. So yeah, but so far enjoying. I don't really have a preference yet because we're so early into the both of them. But yeah, that means everyone, say goodbye to AJ Fickery for now. This will definitely be in my January wrap up. Hello, friends. I don't know if this feels like a jump scare to you, but it does feel like a bit of a jump scare to me, only because I started this video so long ago, and then I don't want to say that I got into a reading slump because I don't think that's true, but Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn are so long as individual books, and then when you have to read them at the same time, it literally took me like a month and a half to get through those books. And filming and updating, I got so tired. And then it's literally mid-March now. Like, I mean, you guys saw, if you made it all the way here, I started this video literally ages ago. And yes, it took me so freaking long to get through these, and my personal and professional life got very busy. Sorry that there's a lack of updates for these. I did finish them and I loved them. Like, cannot stress enough, loved both of them. I've said this earlier in the video, but a lot of people have a preference between these two. For most of the time that I was reading these books, I honestly think I preferred Tower of Dawn. I loved the like main two storylines that we were getting in this book. However, the ending and like the last 20% probably of Empire of Storms went so crazy. The thing that I was saying to one of my friends who also has read both of these books is when you're doing the tandem read, Sarah J. Maas has this pattern of emotionally wrecking her readers by the end of it. And so I had the endings of 2 books to get through, okay? And I'm reading the end of this book and it is just destroying me. Like, not kidding, I cried for probably an hour straight just reading the end of this book, okay? And I'm like, surely Tower of Dawn will not do the same thing to me. I was so wrong. Literally sobbed like a baby again for the last 20% of this one because there's no more interruptions at the end of both of these books. And so all of that is to say I am giving them both 5 stars. I loved them. They were so good. And it did take me so long to get through them. And yeah, I just kind of lost a lot of motivation to document that because I knew that it was going to take me so long since I'm very busy and a very slow reader, but I loved them. And yeah, so sorry about the lack of content lately. I feel like I've been trying to navigate what content I want to create. I have another YouTube channel also that I'm trying to kind of reinvent and get started again in 2025. And then I work in educational content creation as a profession and all that good stuff. So yes, I hope you guys are doing wonderfully. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for choosing my reads. And yeah, that's all from me. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great reading month, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.